All right, getting into the story of how a trip that was supposed to last 3 months has now lasted over 4 years, and I see no end in sight. So, this all started in January of 2020. Just before that, I was working in a place called Nature's Harmony Eco Lodge, where you can go here to get outside of the city and stay the weekend in a cabin or a yurt. And I was there and I wasn't feeling great. I needed to get out. I needed to go do some gardening, some food forestry is what I felt. I need to get out of Canada for the winter. And so I asked some friends I knew from Ecuador 3 years prior if they had any kind of food forestry or permaculture work, and the guy I knew said, "Yeah, you can come here. I'll pay you a bunch of money. You'll go back to Canada and buy your own land after 3 months, and you can, just come to Ecuador for the winter. Go back to Canada in April when spring comes around." And I said, "All right." And so I wanted to go and stay with my family for the last Christmas and New Year's that I was in Canada, but unfortunately things didn't work out, and so I stayed with the Friends in Nature's Harmony Eco Lodge. And during that Christmas, I ate a bunch of mushrooms and went out onto this frozen lake. And one of my friends from the Eco Lodge said he was going to do Reiki and did all of these like energetic work on my chakras. And in the end, he said, "You're you're like designed for a bigger purpose. There's something way bigger. This was all just the start of a story, and like it's about to begin for real now. You are meant for way more than this, and you're about to find out." And so I stayed there in Nature's Harmony Eco Lodge until about January 5th, and then I was able to go to my parents' place to sell some things online, to leave some stuff, and get ready for this trip that I thought was going to last 3 months. And in the end, I start this trip January 16th of 2020, and soon realized that the person who invited me to Ecuador, that they weren't telling the truth about a lot of things, and they weren't able to pay me almost anything, and they never took me to their food forest. I worked in a bookstore for a week and a half, and then I was brutally kicked out. My things were taken, and I was stranded in Ecuador without any money. And my mom said, "It's all right, we'll pay your flight back and then we'll sort this out. You can pay us back." And I said, "Nah, I'd rather die in Ecuador, really." It's the point I was at, that I felt such toxic dependence on my family that I was ready to just die in Ecuador. And so I spent a day pretty depressed in Ecuador, thinking, "Fuck, I'm gonna die. I don't know what I'm gonna do." And then I thought, handstands. I had just learned how to do handstands about a year ago, eating mushrooms, and I figured I can go in the stoplights. I see people doing juggling and all these things, and I can go do handstands and spin on my hands and do all these things that I learned how to do in the past year, and maybe people will pay me for that. And so I get up after a day of bumming around and feeling worthless. I get up and I go to the stoplight and I start doing handstands. And after the first one I do, nothing's happening, and I'm like, "Oh fuck." But then this guy comes up and he's like, "Oh bro, like I don't see many gringos, I don't see many white people in the streetlights trying to do things like this, and yeah, you're gonna make money, you're gonna make money. Do you have a hat? Like, take off your hat and ask them to support you after you do your handstand. Like, show a little bit of effort that you need support." And so I started doing this. I got my hat out of my bag and I put on my hat and I would do the handstand, and then I'd go to the cars, and then I would start getting support, and all of a sudden within half an hour I had $11 in Ecuador, which was enough to go to the organic market, which was only on the weekend, and it just so happened to be the weekend. And so I felt like I was going to miss the organic market, and all of a sudden I have $11 and I go to the organic market and I buy all these things that I need, that I want. And as I'm coming back from the market, these guys see me, a couple of friends from Venezuela, some friends from Italy, and this was the first time I've ever seen them, but they became friends, right? And these friends from Venezuela were like, bro, like I told them the whole story of how I got stranded in Ecuador, and they're like, we're gonna help you out. You're buying your food? That's crazy, bro. We're gonna show you how to get food for free.